We're all familiar with plants. We grow them in our houses, gardens, and greenhouses like the one I am standing in right now. We also know that plants require water, sunlight, and soil. Take this cocoa tree right next to me. It has leaves, a sturdy trunk, and roots that anchor into the soil. Some plants, however, ditched this entirely and took it to the trees. We call these plants epiphytes. Epi meaning Greek for upon, and phyte meaning plant.
Epiphytes are as diverse as they are strange. With an estimated 28,000 described species, they can be found all over the world. They are, however, most dense in abundance and diversity within the world's tropical rainforests, seen here around the equator on our globe of science. While some epiphytes, like this tank bromeliad here, may not be too familiar, orchids, ferns, and even some cacti all can exhibit epiphytic traits. In fact, the large moth orchids that we purchase from garden centers to grow in our homes or give to our loved ones are in fact a species of epiphytic orchid.
Being polyphyletic, almost all epiphytes have one thing in common: a strong anchoring root system. As seen here on the bromeliad plants, the roots are capable of grabbing onto the rigid bark of trees, becoming anchored within the cracks and crevices you see here. The roots of most epiphytes do not absorb water, which may leave you to wonder, if epiphytic plants don't grow in a substrate, how do they acquire their water? The answer is more simple than you may think. Look here. As mentioned previously, epiphytes are incredibly diverse, and the morphology and adaptations they exhibit are no exception. Take a look at this. Some epiphytes, like this tank bromeliad, have adapted cup-shaped leaves that capture water like a rain catcher. This is where the tank name comes into play. Other non-tropical epiphytes that occur in more arid environments have small fuzzy hairs that absorb water right out of the air, as seen here in this air plant.
That epiphytes don't take up water with their roots, well, we lie. As with most things in nature, there's always an exception. Many epiphytic orchids have robust anchoring root systems covered in small hairs, like so. As you may have guessed, these minute hairs pick up water in the same way that air plants do. These orchids behind me are one of the genus Phalaenopsis and may look familiar to you. Water is an essential need for all life, but what about the other stuff that is so essential for keeping our physiology going? All living things that we know of require 4 basic elements to grow and reproduce. These elements are oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, and hydrogen. Plants that grow in the ground rapidly absorb these nutrients from the substrate they grow in. But with epiphytes living up in the trees, how do they acquire said nutrients?
Remember those little fuzzy hairs we talked about earlier? Well, they're called trichomes, and they don't just pick up water from the air, but nutrients too. Some of the key elements we talked about previously are floating around us right now in the form of dust. When these dust particles land on the trichomes of an epiphyte, they are quickly absorbed and taken up in the plant's vascular system. Tank bromeliads have a larger appetite, however they collect falling debris like that from the upper levels of the rainforest canopy in their central cover, known as the rosette. Symbiotic bacteria and other decomposers break down this organic matter into nutrients that can be readily taken up by the plant. Hear that? Those are poison dart frogs, native to the famous Amazon rainforest of South America. These frogs have evolved into a special act of symbiosis with epiphytes in their native range. Remember those tank bromeliads? These frogs take advantage of the water collected inside of bromeliad, laying their eggs in the water and allowing the tadpoles to develop in the bromeliad leaves.
Dart frogs provide a classic example of epiphyte symbiosis. There are plenty of other examples too. Many species of hawk moth are frequent visitors to varying species of epiphytic orchid. With an exaggerated proboscis, they are capable of reaching nectar in orchid flowers that most other pollinators are incapable of getting to. The bromeliad spider, which makes their home on the inside of bromeliad leaves, is another example of a bromeliad-dwelling species.
Oh, didn't see you there. Well, that's our show. We hope you enjoyed learning about the wacky and wonderful world of plants that left the soil and never looked back. Hopefully now you know and can tell your friends what in the world an epiphyte is. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some canopy symbiotic mutualistic relationships to figure out. See ya.